The last information I have is maybe the most distressing to me. On March 23rd, at the Common Council meeting, I asked Mr. Bud Hausberger, he was giving a report to the Common Council, and I asked him what were his medical authorities to speak about the risk of dioxins. Bud Hausberger said, well, medical is, well, if we're not creating dioxins, then why do we need to consult medical professionals about harmful effects of dioxins? Now, dioxins are only one part of the harmful emissions that this power plant will cause. And we looked at that, we were a little bit curious about that because we remembered on February 8th that representatives of Twisted Oak said, in fact, that the Jasper Clean Energy Center would create dioxins. And so this was contradictory to what Bud Hausberger was stating. And so we went back and we listened to that meeting. We had an audio copy as a part of the public records. We had a DVD copy as a part of the public records that the city of Jasper provided. And I got to the place where a citizen of Jasper asked about dioxins in particular and about Jasper Clean Energy Center. And it wasn't a complete sentence. The person answering the question paraphrased the question and then went into an answer, and it wasn't a complete sentence, and I was scratching my head. And so I wrote it out. It wasn't a complete sentence. It said, he paraphrased the question, how much dioxin was produced by natural gas burner or anybody at Jasper because a buoyant plume coming out of the smokestack disperses far and wide. The vast majority of air pollution in your own town is not generated in Jasper. It's generated out in the country, generated by vehicles and transported by other counties. Well, there was missing information there. It sounded fluid, but when I looked back and I wrote out the quote, there was missing information. 24 seconds of missing information. We went back and we viewed the DVD. It was contracted out to be videoed, and it fades in and fades out 4 times throughout the 3 hours. Fades in and fades out. And the missing 24 seconds at that particular point talked about dioxin production. Any amount of dioxin exposure is deadly. Now, I looked at the information and it could have been debated. The significance of it could have been debated, could have been questioned. But the fact that that damaging piece of information was missing, and there was no disclosure of that information missing in public records, is severe. No mention of technical difficulties, no mention of information missing. You request the DVD, you sign the proper paperwork, you sign the release, you get the DVD, the minutes are signed off, okay, by the mayor. No mentioning of any disclosure, no mentioning of missing information, significant missing information in public records.
We can't hear you.
We had asked the news media to tape that meeting for us. We did not have the capability at the Habig Center to do that. When the meeting was over, we took quite a lot of time with them trying to be able to get it in a format to give back to us. Not only for our records, but also in the event that somebody wanted a copy. We originally received the audio, and at that time, because we had received a public records request, and I have all my emails and the records right here, I emailed Pastor Breedlove back and informed him that we had an audio, but we did not have a DVD. In the event we received the DVD, I would let him know. When we received the DVD, here's my email. I wanted to check back with you and see if you still desire the DVD or if the audio is sufficient. Please be advised that we have noticed that there were
I will be very
We
specific
received
if I
him
make
with
allegations.
work issues, and we disclosed that to him and provided the record to him anyways with that understanding.
I have the receipt for the,
Mr. Burrs, you were responsible for the taping and the audio, video and audio. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, the four fades you saw were generally transitions from tape to tape. That's all they were. This is the camera that we used that night, that the city had access to. When we make a change in a tape, we put another one in. We hit it, and then we fire it, and you'll find that's about.
how long did
26
each of those tapes include?
About 60 minutes worth.
That was 24 seconds?
When we make a change in a tape, we put another one in, we hit it, and then we fire it, and you'll find that's about.
How long did each of those tapes include?
About 60 minutes worth.
That was 24 seconds? What you just did?
No, just, I mean, that's about 20, I'd say 20, 30 seconds if somebody wants to time me again. But that's generally, and I'll tell you.
I would like to time you again. Go ahead.
All
3, 2, 1.
right, stop the tape.
We can discuss this later.
Okay.
We are now at about 30 minutes of public.
How did you know there were 4 fade-ins and fade-outs?
Mr. Breland.
Well, you brought them up, and the only time I would use a fade in and fade out on tape like that,
You're back in?
I'm not doing it. He said not to do it right now.
We are now at 30 minutes for public business.
But-
Mr. Kala?